You've seen it before, haven't you? The strained laughter at dinner parties. The way her eyes flicker just for a second when someone mentions her promotion. The way his hand tightens around her shoulder, not out of affection, but possession. He's charming, successful, confident. She's radiant, intelligent, accomplished. They look like the perfect couple until you notice that she laughs a little softer when he's around. Until you realize that every compliment he gives her comes with a knife hidden in its lining. This isn't about jealousy. It's about power. There's a silent war being waged in countless homes, one that leaves no bruises, but countless invisible scars. The struggle of men who feel times threatened, times by women who earn more, rise higher. Think faster, shine brighter. It's not new, it's not rare, and it's not just insecurity. It's a psychological, cultural, and emotional crisis, the last gasp of an outdated definition of masculinity. Fighting for relevance in a world that has changed faster than it can adapt. But the tragedy isn't just his, it's hers. Because when a man cannot celebrate the woman he loves, he must diminish her to survive her success. He will call her too ambitious. He will accuse her of neglect, of pride, of acting like a man. He will make her achievements feel like betrayal. And she, who once thought love meant partnership, will find herself shrinking in her own home, hiding her light so he doesn't feel small. This book is not about hate. It is about revelation. It's about unmasking a form of emotional abuse so subtle it's often mistaken for love, the manipulation of guilt, affection, and identity that keeps powerful women apologizing for their own strength. It's about showing you what really happens when success becomes a sin inside the walls of intimacy. So let's begin not with theory, but with a story. Clara Duvall had everything people said a woman should want. A thriving career in marketing, a beautiful Paris apartment near Montparnasse, a sharp wit, a quiet confidence, and a paycheck that made her parents proud. She met Nathan at a conference in London, a financial consultant with easy charisma, all tailored suits and intelligent smiles. Is greater than, "You're unlike anyone I've ever met," he said on their first night out. "You have this energy. It's magnetic." Clara, used to men intimidated by her independence, felt disarmed. Here was someone who didn't flinch when she spoke about her work, her goals, her late nights. He seemed fascinated, not threatened, or so she thought. For months, their romance burned brightly. He was attentive, generous, even vulnerable. He told her about his childhood, a distant father, a mother who worked too much. She saw depth, sensitivity. But the first crack came disguised as a joke. One evening, after she returned from a client dinner, he smiled and said, "Is greater than you spend more time with your job than with me. Should I start charging your company for emotional damages?" She laughed it off. But his eyes didn't. Then came the subtle questions. Is greater than, do you really need to take that trip? Is greater than, don't you think you're working a bit too hard? Is greater than, I just want us to have more time. Is that so wrong? They sounded like love. They were tests. Nathan didn't rage. He eroded. He made her question whether ambition was selfish, whether earning more than him was somehow disrespectful. When her firm offered her a promotion to regional director, he didn't congratulate her. He went silent. For days, when she asked what was wrong, he sighed. Is greater than, I just feel like you're becoming someone I can't keep up with. That sentence broke her more than any insult could. Because here's the truth. Women like Clara don't fear loneliness. They fear being too much. And men like Nathan know that fear better than anyone. It didn't happen overnight. Nathan didn't forbid her from working. He didn't yell or demand. He simply started rewarding her for shrinking. When she skipped a networking event, he was affectionate. When she declined a weekend workshop, he planned a romantic getaway. Each compromise felt like love. Each surrender felt like harmony. That's how emotional control hides in gestures of devotion. But Clara didn't notice she was trading her dreams for peace. She just knew that when she succeeded, he grew cold. When she softened, he smiled. That's intermittent reinforcement. The psychology of reward and withdrawal that keeps victims trapped. She learned to equate his approval with her safety. It wasn't until a friend pointed it out that she realized something was wrong. Is greater than, "You used to light up when you talked about work," her friend said. "Now, you look like you're asking permission." That night, Clara stared at herself in the mirror. The reflection was familiar but smaller, her shoulders rounded inward, her voice quieter. She had become polite where she used to be proud, tactful where she used to be bold. Love, she realized, had turned into a performance, one where her success had to be edited out to keep him comfortable. Nathan wasn't a monster. He was, in many ways, ordinary, the product of a culture that tells men their worth is measured against the women beside them. When that balance shifts, they don't see partnership. They see displacement. And because men are rarely taught how to process feelings of inadequacy, they reach for the only tools they know: withdrawal, criticism, control. In the end, Nathan didn't destroy Clara's confidence in her work. He destroyed her confidence in her right to be proud of it. This is where the story truly begins, at the intersection of love and power, where admiration curdles into resentment. Because the truth is not that men hate successful women. It's that they were never taught how to love them without losing themselves. In the chapters that follow, we'll unmask the weapons of this silent war, from gaslighting and guilt, to economic control, to the manipulation of identity itself. We'll see how men like Nathan turn admiration into sabotage, and how women like Clara can reclaim their power not by fighting harder, but by seeing clearly. The illusion is breaking. The age of polite oppression is ending, and clarity brutal. Liberating clarity is the first act of rebellion. At first, it was just confusion, the kind that makes you blink and ask yourself, did I imagine that? That's how the second phase of emotional control begins, not with shouting, not with violence, but with distortion. Nathan's genius wasn't in his anger. It was in his tone, soft, reasonable, logical. He didn't accuse. He times corrected. Is greater than, that's not what I said. Is greater than, you're reading too much into it. Is greater than, I think you're projecting. He used the language of intelligence to make her question her reality. Clara, who prided herself on being rational, didn't realize she was being gaslighted. Because gaslighting doesn't make you feel stupid, it makes you feel uncertain. And uncertainty, over time, erodes even the strongest mind. One night, after a long day, Clara tried to talk about her stress at work. Nathan frowned. Is greater than, you always make everything sound dramatic. She froze. She hadn't thought she was being dramatic. He sighed, put an arm around her. Is greater than, you just overanalyze everything. That's what makes you so good at your job and so bad at relaxing. The insult was hidden inside the compliment, the poison inside the sugar. That's how it works. Every distortion is wrapped in affection, so you never see it for what it is, a rewriting of truth. Soon, Clara stopped bringing things up. It wasn't worth the confusion, the explanations, the sighs. When she caught him minimizing her successes again, she almost said something but didn't, because the last time he had looked hurt and whispered, "Is greater than, I can't believe you think I'd ever want to make you feel small." And just like that, she felt guilty for even noticing the pain. Gaslighting is not just lying. It's the time's systematic erosion of confidence in your own perception. Asterisk. It works through repetition and emotional reward. The victim begins to internalize the abuser's version of events, because believing the lie is less painful than constantly doubting yourself. Clara began keeping mental notes times. "He did say that, right?" Asterisk, only to later doubt her memory. She'd replay conversations in her mind until the lines blurred. Each time, Nathan would sound calm, she'd sound emotional, and that contrast became its own evidence. Soon, she wasn't sure what was real, his tone or her feelings. That's when guilt enters the equation. Nathan didn't raise his voice. He raised her responsibility. Every argument ended the same way, with Clara apologizing. If she called out his dismissiveness, he'd sigh. "Is greater than, I can't do anything right, can I?" If she looked upset, he'd shake his head. "Is greater than, I'm trying my best, but you keep pushing me away." And because she didn't want to be cruel, because she knew times he was sensitive, she apologized again. That's guilt manipulation, the art of making the victim responsible for the abuser's emotions. It's not coercion through fear, but through empathy. Nathan knew that Clara's compassion was her weakness, so he used it to rewrite the moral script. He was the wounded soul. She was the cold, ungrateful one. Every time she tried to talk about her pain, she ended up comforting him instead. He turned her empathy into a leash. Eventually, Clara stopped distinguishing between what she felt and what he said she should feel. If he told her she was too defensive, she believed it. If he said she was too sensitive, she tried to harden. If he said she was cold, she tried to soften. Her entire emotional landscape began to orbit around his moods. That's the hallmark of gaslighting. You start policing yourself before the abuser even has to. By the 6th month, Clara's friends noticed. "Is greater than, you don't talk about work anymore," Camille said. "Is greater than, Nathan doesn't like when I complain," Clara replied. "Is greater than, you used to love telling stories." Is greater than, "I just don't want to sound negative." But the truth was simpler. She had learned that truth itself was dangerous. Gaslighting doesn't erase facts. It replaces them with mirrors. Every time you try to see the world clearly, you only see your own reflection, confused, guilty, apologetic. Clara found herself crying quietly one night after a call with her boss. She'd turned down a new opportunity, something that could have advanced her career. Why? Because Nathan had said, "Is greater than, I just think you're burning out. You don't have to prove anything anymore." And she'd believed him, because it sounded like care. Only later did she realize he didn't want her exhausted. He wanted her times contained. Gaslighting is, at its core, about control of narrative. When someone can control the story, they control perception. When they control perception, they control time's reality. That's why emotional abusers don't need to scream. They just need to convince you that you're overreacting. They don't take your freedom away. They make you times question whether you deserve it. And when you no longer trust your feelings, you become easier to manage. One evening, Clara overheard Nathan speaking to a friend on the phone. He laughed and said, "Is greater than, she's brilliant, but she's impossible sometimes. I have to keep her grounded." The words hit her like cold water. Grounded. It sounded so noble, so rational, but it was the perfect euphemism for control. She realized then that she had been living inside his definition of love, one built not on equality, but on hierarchy. He didn't want to hurt her. He wanted to win. Asterisk, asterisk. That's the second hidden benefit. Of not marrying too early. You give yourself time to recognize when time's care times is just control, wearing manners, You learn to see when concern is really doubt, when advice is really fear, when love is really possession. You learn to trust your inner compass more than anyone else's approval. Because in a world full of Nathans, the greatest act of self-preservation isn't rebellion. It's believing your own eyes. Control doesn't always come from what someone does to you. Sometimes it comes from what they take times away. After months of emotional fog, Clara began to notice a quiet pattern. She was seeing fewer people, speaking less freely, and spending almost every evening in the orbit of Nathan's moods. It wasn't a rule, it was a rhythm, one he composed so skillfully that it felt like love. Is greater than, why don't we just stay in tonight? Is greater than, your friends don't understand what we have. Is greater than, I just feel closer to you when it's just us. At first, it sounded romantic. Then it became routine. Then it became a cage. Isolation rarely arrives as an order. It arrives as time's a preference. Nathan never forbade her from seeing anyone. He simply made her feel guilty for wanting to. When Clara mentioned going out for coffee with Camille, he smiled thinly. Is greater than, I don't get why you still need her advice. You have me. When she stayed late at work, he texted, I hope your career keeps you warm tonight. It was playful, on the surface, but under it lay the seed of separation, the slow suggestion that her connections were distractions, not supports. She didn't notice at first how small her world was becoming. Friends drifted, calls went unanswered, messages were left on later, and Nathan was always there, ready with comfort. Is greater than, you don't need them, he'd whisper. You have everything you need right here. That's the trick of the abuser. They isolate you, not by locking you away, but by convincing you you're safer alone. To outsiders, they looked inseparable, a couple, always together, always in sync. But what appeared like closeness was actually time's containment. Isolation has a public face. Nathan made sure Clara never appeared unhappy in front of others. He'd take her hand at parties, lean in close, whisper compliments, but if she ever disagreed, even gently, his smile would freeze. Is greater than, not here, he'd murmur. You're embarrassing me. She learned to stay quiet, to laugh at the right cues. In public, she was the image of devotion. In private, she was the echo of herself. That's how the circle tightens. Your world shrinks until every path leads back to the abuser. Once isolation takes hold, the victim begins to internalize it. The lack of friends isn't just circumstantial. It becomes emotional conditioning. Clara started believing that no one would understand her anymore, that people had moved on. Nathan had subtly planted that idea months ago. Is greater than, you've changed since you started dating me. They wouldn't get it. That's how psychological isolation works. It makes you believe leaving means times losing your identity. Soon, Clara's self-image existed only through Nathan's reflection. If he was warm, she felt worthy. If he was distant, she vanished. It's a process called coercive dependency. The reprogramming of a person's sense of belonging until they no longer feel real outside the relationship. Abuse survives in silence. Witnesses are dangerous, so every potential one must be neutralized through dismissal, mockery, or subtle sabotage. When Clara mentioned a friend's promotion, Nathan smirked. Is greater than, oh her? She always flirts with the boss. Don't compare yourself to her. When her brother asked if she was okay, Nathan laughed. Is greater than, you know how dramatic she gets. She's fine. Bit by bit, he discredited her network until no one's voice but his felt valid. And once the last witness disappears, the abuser doesn't need to lie anymore, because now, asterisk, their word is the only truth left standing. Asterisk. It wasn't rage that woke Clara up, it was emptiness. One Sunday, she realized she hadn't seen her friends in 6 months. Her phone was silent. Her world, once full of ideas and laughter, had shrunk to the 4 walls of Nathan's apartment. She sat by the window and watched people pass below, strangers, talking, laughing, asterisk, existing, asterisk. She didn't envy them. She pitied herself for having forgotten what that felt like. Nathan entered the room, coffee in hand. Is greater than. What are you thinking about? Is greater than she. Smiled weakly. Is greater than nothing. Is greater than, because by then, she'd learned that truth was never safe. But inside, something small began to stir. Not rebellion, not anger, but time's memory. Asterisk. The memory of who she had been before his voice became her conscience. Isolation isn't a tactic. It's an asterisk ecosystem of control. Asterisk. It's how abusers make sure the only source of validation, comfort, or identity flows through them. It ensures that when they hurt you, you have no one to tell. And when you finally break, there's no one to help you rebuild. That's why isolation is one of the most powerful tools in emotional abuse. It doesn't just cut you off from the world, it makes you forget the world was ever yours. Asterisk. The hidden benefit. Asterisk. This is the asterisk third hidden benefit. Asterisk of not marrying too early. You learn the asterisk difference between intimacy and isolation. Asterisk. You understand that love that cuts you off from others isn't devotion, it's confinement. That "I only need you" sounds romantic until it becomes a sentence. When you have time to build friendships, independence, and self-worth before partnership, you create a safety net, not of people who save you, but of people who times remind you who you are, times when you start to forget. Because love should never shrink your world. If it does, it isn't love, it's ownership dressed as affection. Control doesn't always come with shouting. Sometimes it comes with a smile, a card swipe, or a casual asterisk. Don't worry, I've got this. Asterisk. Financial and sexual control are 2 of the quietest yet most devastating tools of hidden emotional abuse. They don't look like power. They look like time's care. Asterisk. Until you realize the price was your freedom. When Nathan and Clara moved in together, he insisted on paying most of the bills. Is greater than. It's not about money, he said. It's about taking care of you. At first, it felt wonderful, comforting, even. Clara, who had always managed her own finances, let herself rest in that warmth. She thought it was love made practical, but within months, the tone shifted. When she bought herself a new coat, Nathan laughed lightly. Is greater than, didn't we just talk about saving? You really can't help yourself. When she offered to split the rent increase, he refused. Is greater than, no, I'll handle it. Just maybe don't spend on unnecessary things for a while. She didn't notice the trap forming. Every act of generosity built a quiet ledger of debt, not in money, but in time's guilt. Asterisk. He was never cruel. He was time's responsible. Asterisk. He made her feel reckless for wanting autonomy. That's the brilliance of economic control. It hides behind the mask of maturity. The abuser doesn't demand, they times manage. Asterisk. When Clara's company offered her a bonus, she hesitated before sharing the news. She wanted to celebrate, but she already knew how the conversation would go. Is greater than, that's great, love, Nathan would say. Maybe now you can relax a bit. You don't have to push so hard, and beneath those words would lie the unspoken truth. Her success was acceptable only if it didn't make him feel small. So, she began minimizing her wins. She stopped talking about work. When he asked how her day was, she'd say, asterisk, busy but fine. Asterisk, even when she'd closed a major deal. That's what financial control does. Even when it's subtle, it rewrites your emotional economy. You start measuring your achievements by how safe they make someone else feel. Nathan's control wasn't just financial, it was emotional commerce. Every affection came with an exchange. If she spent less, he was warm. If she disagreed, he went cold. If she dressed up, he smiled, unless they were going out without him. Is greater than, you don't have to impress anyone anymore, he'd murmur, smiling. Is greater than, you're mine. That's enough. But it wasn't enough. Not for her. She began to notice the same pattern in intimacy. Some nights he was tender, attentive, loving. Other nights, distant and cold. When she asked what was wrong, he'd say, is greater than, I just don't feel connected to you lately. You've been distracted. So she tried harder. She apologized for being tired, for working late, for not smiling enough. He never asked for obedience outright. He just made her body and her affection the price of his peace. That's asterisk, asterisk, sexual control. Asterisk, asterisk. Not through coercion, but through withdrawal. It turns intimacy into currency. When money and sex intertwine with guilt, a new economy emerges, one where love is traded like a commodity. Nathan had mastered it. He decided when they spent, when they saved, when they touched, when they spoke. Every choice was filtered through his comfort first. If Clara resisted, he didn't argue, he simply withdrew. Is greater than, I feel like you don't appreciate me anymore. Is greater than, you used to be so affectionate. Now it's all business with you. And every time, she paid the emotional tax. Overcompensation. She bought him gifts. She skipped work trips. She stayed quiet when she disagreed, not because she feared him, but because she feared times the distance. Asterisk. That's what makes this kind of abuse so insidious. You're not controlled by punishment. You're controlled by asterisk, asterisk, absence. Asterisk, asterisk. Why does this pattern repeat over and over across relationships and cultures? Because we're taught to equate male provision with virtue. When a man provides, he's seen as generous. When a woman earns more, she's seen as emasculating. That social script gives emotional abusers the perfect disguise. Their control looks like times care. Asterisk, Nathan didn't say, asterisk, I own you. Asterisk, he said, asterisk, I'm looking out for us. Asterisk, and Clara, conditioned to interpret protection as love, didn't see the leash tightening around her freedom. It's not that he wanted her powerless, it's that her power reminded him of his fragility. So he did what fragile men have done for centuries. He disguised fear as leadership and called it love. The final shift came one night when Clara mentioned buying herself a new laptop. Nathan smiled. Is greater than, you don't need to. I'll order one for you. She hesitated. It's fine. I can get it myself. His face changed just slightly. Is greater than, you always make it about control, don't you? The irony was suffocating. In that moment, she realized that independence had become rebellion, and rebellion had become betrayal. There was no space left for equality, only a performance of it. That night, she went online and bought the laptop anyway, not because she needed it, because she needed proof she still could. This is the asterisk, asterisk, fourth hidden benefit, asterisk, asterisk, of not marrying too early. You have time to asterisk, asterisk, build economic and emotional independence before love can claim ownership of it. Asterisk, asterisk. You learn that shared finances are not proof of trust. they're proof of negotiation. That love without autonomy becomes charity. That real partnership isn't about who pays, but who times respects. Asterisk, a mature relationship isn't a merger. It's a collaboration. Both invest, both contribute, both retain the right to say no. Because control, whether through money or affection, is never protection. It's possession wrapped in tenderness. And once you've lived through that masquerade, you stop mistaking generosity for goodness. You learn that the truest form of love isn't, "I'll take care of you." It's asterisk, asterisk, "I'll stand beside you and never make you smaller so I can feel big." Asterisk, asterisk, you never notice the cage at first because it swings. One moment, you're kissed. The next, you're crushed. One day he's silent. The next, he's tender, repentant, intoxicatingly warm. That's not chaos. That's asterisk, asterisk control disguised as rhythm. Asterisk, asterisk. In psychology, it's called asterisk, asterisk, intermittent reinforcement. Asterisk, asterisk. The most powerful form of conditioning known to man. It's how slot machines keep gamblers playing. It's how emotional abusers keep victims staying. Because the reward doesn't come times, every times. Time it comes, times, sometimes, asterisk. And that sometimes is enough to keep you hoping. After months of guilt and confusion, Clara had started to detach. She had grown quiet, exhausted. Nathan noticed. He didn't rage, he time shifted. Asterisk, he became the man she fell for again. Surprise dinners, gentle words, sudden warmth is greater than, "I've been thinking about us," he said one night. "I realize I've been unfair. You deserve better." She felt relief flood through her chest. This was the man she remembered. The one who saw her. He held her close, whispered, asterisk, "I just want us to go back to how we were." Asterisk. And for a moment, she believed it. But that's how the trap resets. The abuser gives you just enough sweetness to make you forget the bitterness. He becomes your pain times, and times your cure. The cycle is simple. Tension, conflict, withdrawal, affection. Each repetition tightens the bond, not through love, but through asterisk, asterisk, psychological dependency. Asterisk, asterisk. There's a biological truth behind the madness. The brain craves patterns. Intermittent affection floods your system with asterisk, asterisk, dopamine, asterisk, asterisk. The same neurotransmitter triggered by gambling wins or drug highs. You start to associate times relief times with times love. Asterisk. Clara didn't love Nathan's cruelty. She loved the absence of it. She didn't crave his words. She craved the times, moment times they returned. That's why victims stay. Not because they're weak, but because their nervous system has been rewired to mistake calm for affection and chaos for connection. It's not romance. It's trauma addiction. Nathan was an expert choreographer. He knew when to punish, when to console, when to reappear with flowers and promises. Is greater than, "You know I love you," right? Is greater than, "I just get scared of losing you." Is greater than, "You're my world, even when we fight." He made the abuse look like time's passion. Asterisk, the reconciliation like time's proof of destiny. Asterisk. And Clara, trapped between exhaustion and longing, learned to anticipate every mood like weather. She could sense when he was going to pull away. She could predict when the storm would come. But no matter how hard she prepared, she still flinched at every change in temperature. Because that's what intermittent reinforcement does. It keeps you chasing the illusion of consistency in someone who only offers fragments. Each apology became currency. Each "I love you" a reward for endurance. Nathan didn't say, asterisk, "Stay," asterisk. He made leaving unthinkable. When Clara tried to pull back, he sensed it instantly. He'd send a photo from their first trip together, or a message that read, Asterisk. Remember how good we were before everything got complicated? Asterisk. Before what, exactly? She'd wonder. Before times him. Asterisk. But nostalgia is the abuser's most effective weapon. It replaces reality with memory, pain with sentimentality. You start longing not for the person, but for the times person you thought they were. Asterisk. And when the cruelty returns, it doesn't matter. You tell yourself, asterisk, this isn't him. The real him will come back. Asterisk. That's not love. That's asterisk, asterisk, emotional gambling. Asterisk, asterisk. One night, after another fight, the kind that leaves you numb, not angry, Clara sat at the edge of the bed. Nathan was asleep beside her, peaceful, like nothing had happened. She looked at him and realized something terrifying. She no longer wanted him to change. She just wanted peace. That's when she understood this wasn't a relationship anymore. It was a ritual. She performed forgiveness. He performed affection. And together, they reenacted a love that had died long ago. She had become addicted to the intervals between pain. Intermittent reinforcement doesn't just break people. It times them. It teaches them to accept inconsistency as normal, to work harder for love that should be freely given. The abuser doesn't need to monitor you constantly. Your own brain becomes the leash. You anticipate, adjust, comply all to earn the next hit of tenderness. And by the time you realize it, you've built your whole emotional world around someone else's unpredictable mercy. Freedom begins the moment you stop asking, asterisk, will they change? Asterisk, and start asking, asterisk, why do I need them to? Asterisk. When Clara reached that point, she stopped negotiating for peace. She stopped decoding his moods like sacred texts. She stopped mistaking crumbs for care. She didn't leave that night, not yet, but something in her left him long before her body did. That's how healing begins. In the quiet decision to stop waiting for rescue from the very person who built the storm. This is the asterisk fifth hidden benefit, asterisk of not marrying too early. You learn the asterisk difference between love and emotional dependence. Asterisk. You discover that consistency is not boring, it's safe. That peace is not emptiness, it's health. That love is not the thrill of chaos, it's the relief of calm. And once you've lived through the pendulum of emotional control, you no longer crave highs and lows. You crave honesty, stability, respect, because the heart, once broken by manipulation, doesn't need fireworks. It needs a steady flame that never asks you to set yourself on fire just to stay warm. Some men don't need to hit to destroy you. They just need an audience. Because humiliation, subtle, casual, smiling humiliation is one of the sharpest blades of emotional abuse. It doesn't draw blood. It draws asterisk, doubt, asterisk. And when wielded by someone who knows your fears, it cuts deeper than any insult screamed in anger ever could. Nathan's first public put-down came dressed as humor. At a dinner with friends, Clara spoke about her company's expansion plans. She was glowing, animated, proud. Nathan laughed softly and said, "Is greater than careful. Guys, don't let her start talking about marketing metrics or we'll be here all night." The table chuckled. Clara smiled, too, the reflex of someone trained not to ruin the mood. But inside, she felt small. Later, when she told him it had hurt, he looked puzzled. "Is greater than..." "Oh, come on." Everyone laughed. "Don't be so sensitive." That's how public humiliation hides behind asterisk, the mask of humor. Asterisk. The abuser gets the satisfaction of superiority, while the victim gets the label of overreactive. It's a performance written for others, but directed at you. As months passed, Nathan grew bolder. He interrupted her mid-sentence at parties. He corrected her opinions, softly, politely, but always in a way that re-established who held authority. "Is greater than That's not quite how it happened. Love is greater than. She's brilliant at work, but she's hopeless with directions. Is greater than. She's amazing, just needs to learn to relax. Everyone laughed. Everyone adored them, and Clara learned to smile through humiliation so seamlessly that even she believed it was harmless. That's the cruelty of social abuse. Asterisk, asterisk. You become a prop in your own erasure. Asterisk, asterisk. You play the part of the strong woman who doesn't mind a little teasing. You laugh to prove you're not fragile. You minimize yourself to maintain his image, because what's more dangerous than an abusive man? An abusive man everyone loves. Behind closed doors, Nathan weaponized her reactions. If she confronted him, he'd sigh. Is greater than. You embarrass yourself when you get like this. Is greater than. Why do you always have to make me the bad guy? If she withdrew, he'd follow with tenderness. Is greater than. I only tease you because I'm proud of you. That's asterisk, asterisk. The victim flip. Asterisk, asterisk. A manipulative reversal where the abuser casts himself as misunderstood, fragile, or persecuted. Soon, Clara found herself comforting the man who humiliated her. She said sorry for his cruelty. She learned to soothe the very hand that struck her pride. Nathan didn't just need to control Clara's emotions. He needed to control how others saw him. So he became an expert performer. In public, generous, charming, self-deprecating. In private, critical, cold, exacting. When Clara tried to confide in someone, she hesitated. Who would believe her? He had built a reputation of being the patient one, the stable one, the man who loves her despite her temper. Every tear she shed became proof of her instability. Every protest became a scene. That's how image management becomes a weapon. It isolates victims by making them look unbelievable. And so, Clara stopped talking. She learned that silence was safer than trying to defend the truth against a charming lie. Humiliation works because it attacks identity, not behavior. When someone mocks you in front of others, your brain registers asterisk, asterisk. Social rejection, asterisk, asterisk. One of the deepest, most primal forms of pain. To the abuser, it's reinforcement. Public laughter becomes proof of dominance. To the victim, it's conditioning. Speak less, reveal less, asterisk, be less. Asterisk. Over time, Clara began pre-editing herself. She avoided sharing opinions. She deferred to his version of stories. She even laughed when he mocked her, because resistance had a cost, and humiliation, at least, was predictable. That's the evolution of control. From overt manipulation to asterisk, asterisk, self-censorship. Asterisk, asterisk. But performances crack under their own weight. One evening, at a friend's birthday dinner, Nathan made another joke. Is greater than. Clara's the boss at work, but at home, she can't even choose what to eat. The table erupted in laughter. But this time, Clara didn't smile. She simply looked at him long, steady, unflinching. The silence that followed was heavy. Someone changed the subject. Nathan's jaw tightened. He said nothing all night. When they got home, he exploded. Is greater than. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. And in that moment, the roles finally reversed, not in his story, but in hers, because she realized the truth. Asterisk, asterisk. His power depended on her participation. Asterisk, asterisk. The performance couldn't go on if she refused her lines. Public humiliation is not random cruelty. It's asterisk, asterisk, strategic conditioning. Asterisk, asterisk. It teaches you to self-regulate your confidence, to make his comfort the boundary of your self-expression. And the victim flip keeps the abuser untouchable because the world sees him as charming and her as difficult. He gets sympathy. She gets suspicion. That's why so many intelligent, successful women stay silent, because Emotional abuse is invisible to those who only believe what they can see. The night of that dinner changed something in Clara. For the first time, she wasn't ashamed, times he was. Asterisk, she saw the smallness behind his laughter, the desperation behind his charm. It wasn't confidence. It was asterisk, control. Trembling at the edge of exposure. Asterisk, and in that realization, she felt something she hadn't felt in years: power. Not over him, but over herself. She didn't need to explain, defend, or retaliate. She just needed to stop performing. That night, she decided she would never again laugh at her own expense. This is the sixth hidden benefit. Of not marrying too early. You gain time to build self-respect, strong enough to withstand public doubt. You learn that love that ridicules you is not affection. It's insecurity dressed as wit. You stop confusing mockery with intimacy, attention with validation, charm with goodness. When you know your worth before love arrives, no one can define it for you. And when someone tries to turn you into a joke, you'll know exactly what to do. Walk off their stage and write your own story. Abuse doesn't survive because it's strong. It survives because the world is quiet. Every time a woman like Clara tries to speak, the silence around her becomes a second prison. It's built not by one man's cruelty, but by a culture that excuses, minimizes, even romanticizes it. We tell women to be patient. We tell men she knew what she was getting into. We call control love, jealousy, passion, possessiveness, devotion. And when the victim finally breaks, we ask, why didn't you leave sooner? This chapter isn't about Nathan anymore. It's about everyone who helped him without ever realizing it. When Clara finally confided in her mother, she expected comfort. Instead, she got tradition. Is greater than all couples argue, her mother said gently. Is greater than he's a good man, he just needs to feel appreciated. That word, times appreciated, times became another shackle, because it meant that even her pain had to be polite. Her friends weren't much better. Is greater than you're both strong personalities, one of them said. Is greater than maybe you just need to compromise more. But compromise, when you're being gaslighted, is surrender. And surrender, when repeated long enough, becomes identity. No one meant harm, but society doesn't need to be cruel to be complicit. All it needs to do is protect comfort over truth. There's another lie that keeps victims silent, the myth of the strong woman. Clara was educated, articulate, independent. So when people learned she was struggling, they didn't believe her. Is greater than you? Abused? That's impossible. Is greater than you're too smart to let that happen. That's the cruelty of competence. The smarter you are, the less believable your pain becomes. Abuse doesn't just happen to the naive. It happens to the times empathetic. To the ones who believe in dialogue, in fairness, in fixing what's broken. And that very decency becomes the weapon used against them. Society applauds strong women until they cry. Then it calls them dramatic. It tells them to be grateful for what they have, to lower their standards, to stop expecting so much. It's not the abuser who isolates her. It's the chorus of voices telling her she's overreacting. When Clara finally reached out for help to a counselor, to a lawyer, she ran into walls. The first therapist smiled kindly. Is greater than, are you sure this isn't just communication issues? The lawyer looked skeptical. Is greater than, has he ever hit you? When she said no, his tone changed. Is greater than, then there's not much we can do. That's the legal truth of emotional abuse. If there are no bruises, there is no crime. Gaslighting doesn't leave evidence. Isolation doesn't show up in photographs. Financial control can be framed as generosity. And humiliation? It's just a difference in humor. So the victim walks away with nothing but paperwork that says asterisk, no proof, asterisk. And the abuser walks away with reputation intact, often admired for his composure. Men like Nathan thrive because society hands them the perfect script, the charming partner, the calm voice, the misunderstood man who tried his best. Meanwhile, women like Clara are expected to justify every emotion. She can't simply say, asterisk, he hurt me. Asterisk, she has to explain, chronologically, logically, persuasively, as if trauma were a thesis. When she cries, she's hysterical. When she's calm, she's cold. When she fights back, she's crazy. When she stays quiet, she's complicit. No matter what she does, she loses the narrative. That's the brilliance of a society built on imbalance. It keeps asking the victim for proof while giving the abuser the benefit of the doubt. From movies to magazines, we are trained to believe that women must fix relationships, that if a man is jealous, she must reassure him. If he's distant, she must seduce him. If he's angry, she must calm him. In short, asterisk, if he breaks her, she must repair herself to fit him better. Asterisk, it's an old script, dressed in modern language. We call it communication, but what we mean is tolerance. We call it working on the relationship, but what we mean is working on yourself until he feels powerful again. And when she finally says enough, she's labeled ungrateful, because society still values a woman's endurance more than her peace. Later, when Clara finally left, some friends reached out. Is greater than we always thought something was off, one said. Is greater than he was so controlling sometimes. She smiled politely, though inside she wanted to scream. If they saw it, why did no one speak? Because silence is safer. No one wants to be the one who names the monster in the room, especially when the monster wears a polite smile. But every silent witness strengthens the illusion of normalcy, and every illusion keeps another victim trapped a little longer. Society's failure isn't just ignorance, it's convenience. It's easier to tell a victim to move on than to question the structures that allowed her suffering. We romanticize persistence, but rarely responsibility. We praise forgiveness, but not awareness. We want tidy endings, not uncomfortable truths, because acknowledging emotional abuse means confronting the ways we all enable it, through jokes, through silence, through the worship of appearances. And so, the cycle continues. But cracks are forming in therapy rooms, on social media, in whispered conversations between women who have finally found language for what was once unspeakable. They are calling things by their names now: gaslighting, isolation, coercive control, financial abuse. They are rewriting the vocabulary of suffering, and with it, the map to freedom. Clara found strength in those words, in realizing her pain had a name, and therefore, asterisk was not her fault. Asterisk, it wasn't personality, it wasn't relationship issues, it was time's abuse. Asterisk, and once something has a name, it can no longer hide. This is the asterisk, seventh hidden benefit, asterisk, of not marrying too early. You gain time to asterisk, see the world's biases before you're trapped inside them. Asterisk, you learn how society excuses manipulation, how culture romanticizes control, how love can become a social expectation rather than a personal truth. You learn to build relationships on awareness, not approval. Because when you understand how easily the world looks away, you stop waiting for permission to save yourself. And when you stop waiting, that's when real freedom begins. Leaving isn't the hardest part. Asterisk, believing you have the right to leave. Asterisk is. By the time Clara realized her relationship with Nathan was not love but control, she had already lost years of herself. Her laughter, her confidence, her inner compass. But awareness, once born, cannot be silenced. It flickers, then burns. Freedom begins not with action, but with asterisk asterisk, the decision to no longer be deceived. Asterisk asterisk, the first step is seeing the pattern. And that is no small act, because abusers are illusionists. They don't chain you with violence. They bind you with logic. They twist every confrontation into your fault. They teach you that love is sacrifice, that self-erasure is devotion, that endurance is virtue. Clara's awakening didn't come in a dramatic fight. It came in quiet moments, in the way her heart sank every time her phone lit up with his name, in the way she rehearsed her tone before speaking, in the way she apologized for things she didn't do. That's how emotional captivity looks like hypervigilance disguised as care. One night, she wrote it down. Every insult, every joke, every manipulation. And when she read the list aloud, she didn't hear a love story. She heard asterisk asterisk, a pattern. Awareness is the first fracture in the wall, because once you see the design, you can no longer pretend it's a house, you know it's a cage. Awareness without preparation can be dangerous. Abusers often escalate when they sense loss of control. So, freedom must begin in asterisk asterisk silence. Asterisk asterisk. Clara didn't announce her awakening. She planned it. She created a secret email account. She began saving small amounts of money, unnoticed, unremarkable, but hers. She reconnected with an old friend, someone she trusted, someone outside Nathan's circle. In therapy, she practiced small sentences she hadn't said in years. Is greater than, I have the right to feel safe. Is greater than, I'm not crazy. Is greater than, I don't owe him my loyalty when he's destroying me. Each statement was a brick in the road out. Freedom isn't one grand leap. It's a series of quiet steps taken in the dark before dawn. The day Clara left, there was no explosion, no dramatic confrontation, just silence. Nathan was away for work. She packed lightly documents, a few clothes, the necklace her grandmother gave her. She left a note that simply said, asterisk, this is not love. I'm done pretending. Asterisk. When she closed the door, her hands were trembling. Her heart raced, expecting the voice, the call, the guilt. But none came. There was only stillness, terrifying. Sacred stillness. The first hours felt like falling. The next days felt like withdrawal. Because leaving emotional abuse is not like leaving a person. It's like detoxing from an addiction to chaos. Your body misses the tension. Your mind searches for the next command. You feel empty, and that emptiness is the space where freedom will grow. Freedom doesn't mean peace, not immediately. Even after leaving, Clara felt haunted. She heard Nathan's voice in her mind whenever she made a decision. Is greater than, are you sure that's a good idea? Is greater than, you're overreacting again. Is greater than, you'll regret it. That's the echo of conditioning. The abuser no longer needs to speak. His words have taken root in your own head. For months, Clara second-guessed herself. She avoided mirrors. She avoided men. She avoided anything that might remind her of who she used to be. But healing, like love, is a practice. She learned to replace the inner critic with curiosity. Asterisk. What if I'm not broken? What if I'm healing? What if peace feels strange because I'm not used to it? Asterisk. The day she could answer those questions with kindness was the day she knew the ghost had finally gone quiet. Recovery isn't about going back to who you were before. That person is gone. And that's not tragedy, it's evolution. Clara began small. Morning walks without her phone. Cooking for herself, without worrying if the meal was good enough. Reading again not to learn, not to escape, but just because she could. She built new friendships, slowly, carefully, on trust that asked for nothing in return. Most importantly, she stopped apologizing for existing. Her sentences grew simpler, stronger. Is greater than, I don't like that. Is greater than, that's not okay. Is greater than no. No is the anthem of the healed. 1. Asterisk, asterisk. Document everything. Asterisk, asterisk. Keep records of messages, finances, and incidents not for revenge, but for clarity. 2. Asterisk, asterisk, build a safety net. Asterisk, asterisk, a spare phone, a hidden fund, a trusted contact. Freedom requires logistics as much as courage. 3. Asterisk, asterisk, seek professional help. Asterisk, asterisk, trauma distorts your reality. Therapy helps you reclaim your perspective. 4. Asterisk, asterisk, expect emotional withdrawal. Asterisk, asterisk, the absence of chaos can feel unbearable. That's normal. Breathe through it. 5. Asterisk, asterisk, join a support network. Asterisk, asterisk, healing accelerates when your story is believed and mirrored by others who understand. Leaving isn't failure, it's resistance. It's the moment when a victim stops performing the role written for her and begins writing her own. Abusers thrive on predictability, your reactions, your patterns, your fears. The moment you act unpredictably, when you choose silence instead of argument, distance instead of explanation, you disrupt the system that kept you captive. Freedom doesn't begin with rage. It begins with asterisk, asterisk refusal. Asterisk, asterisk, refusal to explain, refusal to defend, refusal to return. That's the quiet rebellion that ends the play. This is the asterisk, asterisk, eighth hidden benefit, asterisk, asterisk, of not marrying too early. You gain time to asterisk, asterisk, build the courage and resources necessary to walk away when love becomes control. Asterisk, asterisk, you learn that independence is not selfish, it's survival. You learn that planning is not cold, it's wisdom. You learn that safety is not fear, it's clarity. Because love without freedom is not love, it's captivity disguised as devotion. And when you've lived long enough to see the difference, you will never again confuse the comfort of control with the peace of self-respect. Leaving doesn't mean losing. It means reclaiming the one relationship that matters most. Asterisk, asterisk, the one with yourself. Asterisk, asterisk, freedom doesn't begin the day you leave. It begins the day you stop apologizing for surviving. For months, Clara moved through the world like someone learning to breathe again. There were mornings she woke up smiling, and afternoons she collapsed in tears for no clear reason. Healing isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. Every turn brings you closer to peace, but only after leading you back through pain. She had escaped Nathan's control, yes, but not the ghost of his voice. It lingered in her mind, disguised as self-doubt. It whispered when she looked in the mirror, asterisk, you're too much. Asterisk, when she met someone kind, asterisk, you'll ruin it again. Asterisk, when she succeeded, asterisk, you don't deserve this, asterisk. But the difference now was simple. She recognized the voice, and recognition is power. At first, the quiet felt unbearable. No arguments, no tension, no chaos, just silence. For someone who's lived in constant emotional noise, peace can feel like emptiness. Clara had to learn that stillness wasn't danger, it was safety. That calm didn't mean boredom, it meant time's healing. Asterisk, every night, she lit a small candle before bed, not for prayer, but as a ritual of presence, a reminder. Asterisk, I am here. I am safe. I am mine. Because healing isn't loud, it's quiet, it's ordinary, it's learning to make tea without fear that someone will complain it's the wrong flavor. It's dancing in your kitchen with no one watching, no one judging, no one deciding what you're allowed to enjoy. Trust doesn't return easily after betrayal. For Clara, it began with herself. She stopped asking, asterisk, what's wrong with me? Asterisk, and started asking, asterisk, what happened to me? That's the shift that transforms survival into recovery. You stop pathologizing your wounds and start respecting them. You stop seeing your reactions as weakness and start recognizing them as protection. One day, She found herself giving directions to a stranger on the street. Her voice was confident, steady. When he thanked her, she smiled, not for his approval, but because she meant it. It was such a small thing, but that's how trust comes back. Asterisk, asterisk, in moments so small, you almost miss them. Asterisk, asterisk. Slowly, Clara began to return to the spaces she had abandoned. Cafes, parks, the little bookstore by the river. She spoke with strangers again, not to please or perform, but simply to exist beside them. She found comfort in simplicity. The weight of a book, the smell of rain, the rhythm of footsteps in a city that didn't know her story. And in those moments, she discovered something profound. You don't have to explain your past to deserve your present. Healing isn't about erasing the scars. It's about walking with them unhidden, because shame dies when it's exposed to air. Months later, Clara met someone new, not through longing, but through coincidence. A colleague, gentle and quiet, who didn't ask for her story. He simply listened. The first time he raised his voice, not in anger, but surprise, she flinched. He noticed. He stepped back. Is greater than, "I'm sorry, I scared you." Those words, not defensive, not mocking, pierced her like light through a cracked window. Not because they were romantic, but because they were time-safe. Asterisk. That's when she realized healing doesn't mean never being afraid again. It means meeting kindness and not mistaking it for a trick. One evening, Clara stood before the mirror, the same one Nathan once used to criticize her reflection. She looked at her body, her face, her eyes. For years, she had seen only what he saw: flaws, imperfections, inadequacy. Now, she saw something else. Asterisk, asterisk, evidence. Asterisk, asterisk, every scar, every line, every faint mark was proof of endurance, proof that she had walked through hell and returned with her own name intact. She whispered to her reflection, "Is greater than, you are not what happened to you. You are what you did after." That sentence became her new prayer. Healing eventually turns outward. What once broke you becomes your insight. What once silenced you becomes your voice. Clara began volunteering with a women's advocacy group. She shared her story anonymously at first, then openly. Each time, someone in the audience cried. Each time, someone whispered afterward, asterisk, "That's my life too." Asterisk. And Clara realized something powerful. Her suffering wasn't meaningless. It was times useful. Asterisk. It was a torch she could hold up for others still lost in the dark. That's what rebirth is. Not erasing pain, but transforming it into light. Every survivor eventually learns the truth. Healing is not about becoming who you were before. It's about becoming asterisk, asterisk, someone who can never again be deceived in the same way. Asterisk, asterisk. When you rebuild yourself from ashes, you become less afraid of fire. You stop chasing approval. Stop mistaking intensity for intimacy. Stop apologizing for boundaries. You finally understand that love is not supposed to hurt, confuse, or demand your silence. You stop seeking permission to exist because you've already earned it. This is the asterisk, asterisk, ninth hidden benefit, asterisk, asterisk, of not marrying too early. You give yourself time to asterisk, asterisk, meet yourself before you meet the world's expectations. Asterisk, asterisk. You learn that solitude is not loneliness, it's strength disguised as stillness. You learn that healing is not about forgetting the past, it's about reclaiming your future. And you learn that love, at its purest, begins not when someone chooses you, but when times you choose yourself. Asterisk. If you are reading this and you recognize yourself, the confusion, the guilt, the exhaustion, hear this. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not unlovable. You are simply someone who has been trained to doubt your worth, and that training can be undone. Every scar on your heart is a map, not of where you've been broken, but of where you've survived. Follow it. because beyond the wreckage of what you lost lies something extraordinary. Asterisk, asterisk, the person you were always meant to become. Asterisk, asterisk, and when you finally meet her, you'll understand that freedom was never about leaving him. It was about asterisk, asterisk, coming home to yourself. Asterisk, asterisk,